Howdy everybody, it's Amy here with Amy's Sparkly Diamond Painting and Cross Stitch, and I've got a fun thing, I hope it's fun, for you today, and that is a good old-fashioned Temu haul. Yes, it's been a while since we've been able, let me fix the camera here a little bit more. It's been a while since we've been able to do a full Temu haul here in the US, and that goes back to the whole tariff situation. I won't go into all the details of the situation here because I've talked about it before, but I'll give you the TLDR, or the short version here. But since the tariffs, Temu had changed here in the US. We were only given options to buy local only, and they came from several different locations, so you had to pay shipping for each one unless you hit a minimum purchase, which was usually 3 or 4 items or more for some stores. So you would get things in individually over time in the mail, and you had to pay shipping, and the price had gone up. So it wasn't quite the same as it used to be, where you could get that big old bag of stuff collected all in one spot and sent to you for really cheap prices. But I noticed something when I went back to Temu during Amazon Prime Week, because I had made a couple purchases over the last few months, and some of them actually showed up on Amazon boxing and delivered by Amazon, and I thought, that's odd. But during Amazon Prime Week, I went over to Temu to do a little shopping, and I found it was back to the old Temu that we were used to, at least for that time. It still looks like it's somewhat that way. So you could make purchases like you used to, the cheaper stuff, and from different stores, and it would get packaged all together and sent all at once. It wasn't just local warehouse. So I was excited. I went ahead and did a big old Temu haul, and it has finally arrived here. I did get 2 separate packages today. This is one item shipped separately, but then we have a whole box here. But one of the things I purchased, which I'm going to show you here first because it's already open, this one came within a few days of the purchase, and it was sent by Amazon. So I thought that was strange, but I did notice that this came without any tape over it. It did not come opened up, although it may actually have been opened and resealed. There's some tape there, but it's not the big orange tape, so it's possible that it was resealed. But I have a whole bunch of different things. There is cross stitch, there is some diamond painting, and we're just going to take a look. This might be a little bit different stuff than I've ordered in the past, but I did notice that some of the smaller diamond paintings were back and for the cheaper prices. So if you haven't looked in a while, it might be worth a look. I'm not affiliated with Temu in any way. I don't play the games. I don't do the discount things, but I did get $5 back in credits due to the price adjustments on these. Actually, it was closer to $6. So anyway, it just felt a little bit like the old days, and it was a quite enjoyable experience. So we're gonna move this aside. This could be a little bit longer video because we have that big thing and this, and then this package, which I will turn sideways. You can see normally I start with diamond painting, but because this was already opened, I'll start here. So I found on there for a really cheap price 8 random cross stitch set, and I thought, why not? For that price, it was like less than $20. So I thought, why not give it a shot and see what 8 cross stitch kits I get. And I could tell they were the budget friendly ones. They weren't going to be any of the name brand stuff, and I knew that, and I thought, well, I'll take a chance. Well, the reason it's opened is because I did get this like 3 or 4 days after I placed the order. It came in an Amazon box, but the box had been opened, and there was tape over it that let me know that it had been opened and resealed, but even that tape had come off. It was kind of just hanging there. So when I got the box at the mailboxes, the top was open. So I thought, well, I would better look inside and see what's in there. So I opened it and found this, but it had also been opened. So this package that they were supposed to ship in had been opened as well. So I went ahead and took a look and made sure everything was there, and then it sat for a couple weeks waiting for the rest of the items to show up because they did come from overseas. But I thought we'd start here, but I have already seen it. So we'll just go through these real quick. I won't open all of them. I'll just show you the pictures on the front, maybe open one or two, and then we'll move on. So this was just a set of 8 random budget-friendly cross stitches, but I thought these were cute. I haven't looked at this one other than just looking at the picture here, but we have a little kitty with what looks like some Christmas holly. So we might open that one because I am kind of curious. It looks like 11 count on that one. And then we have this one, which I thought was a little strange there. We have elephants wearing feathered hats, almost like Native American type hats, or I don't know, they might be African hats as well. So I thought those were kind of cute, but you can see here a little bit of a hint here on this one. It has 22 colors. It looks like 11 count and a lot of background there. So color number 19 is a background, which looks like a off-white maybe. So we're gonna have lots of off-white threads in that one. I'm not sure we're gonna look at that one in detail. Then we have this one, and I've seen this one before. It's not an image that I would typically buy, and a lot of that has to do with the black background on that being black dress, black background. You're stitching mostly black on this one. So I can understand why this showed up in a random box there, because I'm not sure I'd want to stitch that much black. But here I can see her arm and part of her hand. 28 colors though, but if you need any 310 black, you can buy one of these kits to get it instead of paying for the 310 black floss. Because, oh, it's blue actually. Interesting. So I thought I'd just go ahead and look in here. So it's not black, it's blue. So maybe don't buy 310 black. Maybe people tried that and came up with blue. So that looks like 939 maybe. Tons and tons of it. So interesting. But I'm happy to see this canvas because I have a purpose for it. If you don't like any stamped cross stitch image, you can always just wash it. And when I've been asking people for questions they might have related to cross stitch or diamond painting, and if you have any, it's not too late, go ahead and put in the comments any questions you want me to answer or demonstrate for you related to diamond painting or cross stitch. But one of the questions I already got was washing a large canvas. And guess what we have here? We have a large canvas that I don't see myself ever wanting to do because of all that dark background. So I will add the floss to my collection. But as you can see here, this is kind of what I expected. This is not going to come out very good. So I'm going to use this to show how to wash a large canvas. And then I'll have a nice big piece of 11 count Ida cloth to use for counted cross stitch. So it's not a total loss with these. So that's where that's going to go, and lots to add to my stash there. So that's actually pretty useful. So that's that one. And then we got this one. I don't see myself doing, although I think my kiddo, my oldest kiddo, would find that kind of cute. It looks like a unicorn head here. We have the ears and the little eyelashes, and it says "You are magical." So it looks like a little one, 11 count. Looks like 130 for the stitch count across. It's probably square, so 130 by 130. But again, it's got this ton of background here. But instead of a plain background, it looks like we have some off-white fading off to a very pale purple around the edges, and that's what the symbol is here. So, not sure about that one. We'll put that with the elephants. Then we have this one, and I cheated a little bit because I thought this one was pretty cool. So I went ahead and opened it. So I have seen this one. I like the stained glass look to it. And it also looked like it was hand rendered on here. And indeed it is. There is no digital confetti or anything on this. This is a really cute bird here. So I thought this was definitely worth the whole package here. This is hard to tell the brand. I can't really tell. It doesn't have a whole lot of border, and they are not serged, at least this one isn't, so they are definitely budget friendly, but I haven't seen those codes before, so this is a different company than what I normally see. It reminds me a little bit of the Mona Lisa brand, though, because it's all hand rendered, very simple, 24 colors here, very pretty colors, but not too many there, but it's got that coloring book or stained glass look, so I actually started it. There you can see what I've stitched. Very relaxing couch stitch. So I've started some of the outlining here, which is actually gray instead of black, with a white around that, and then just solid filling in the different colors. So this one looked like a really enjoyable stitch, to the point where I didn't want to wait for the rest. So I jumped right in there. And we do have the chart here. You could diamond paint this one actually with the chart, but cute little bird picture there. So I was really happy with this one. And I'm not sure if you would get all the same ones if you were to, I'll go ahead and, I'm making too much packaging noise, but I'm not sure if you'd get the same ones as I got, or maybe something different. But I thought this one was cute too. Look at that one. We got a mother and baby owl here, and this also is 11 count here. Looks like hand rendered based on what I see here, and 30 colors on this one, and not just a plain boring background. It looks like several different colors here to get the mountains and the sun and everything. So that one's worth looking a little closer at. And this one, I had to ask my kiddos. They said that's definitely One Piece, which is a manga that has been around for many, many years and still is around. So if you have kids or anybody into manga, that is One Piece, and it's a pretty large one here. And again, the charting and everything reminds me of the Mona Lisa brand. Has instructions in English on this one, and I'm not sure how many colors. There is a little bit of boring background here on this one, but that is One Piece. And then our last one here is another good one. It's another stained glass, and we have a kitty cat there, which I thought looked really cool. And I haven't opened this one to see how many colors it looks like. Here we go, 26 different colors. So we might take a peek at this one. Here, so this one's a little bit smaller. Interesting. I thought it would be a little bit bigger, but like the others, this one has a really small edge there, and definitely not serged. So these are very budget friendly. We have some extra blue here. This one is marked here. Guessing that's 939. Yep. But I love these other colors. Look at how bright that yellow is, and all those blues and turquoise there. So 26 colors. Looks like plenty of floss for that size. And looks kind of like it says 36-46. So I don't know if that's a number or the size. Let's see. So yeah, 30 by 40 centimeters for that one. So not too big, and very simple stitch. So I was happy with that one too. So to me, for my purposes, this seemed like it was a good value. I was happy with several of these. And for the ones that I don't necessarily see myself doing, I've still got lots of floss to add to my collection, and fabric that I can wash. So not so sure about that one. Why don't we look at this one real quick? This looks maybe a little bit bigger, but I think it's cute. And I will put the link below. Of course, with Temu, stuff comes and goes, but we'll see if this is still available. So we got floss card here, 2 of them with 30. Now this, I'm not a big fan of this particular type of floss card where they're just kind of stuck in a little slot like that. I wind them on floss drops. Use my own floss drops that I 3D print for those, but here we go. See, we do have blocking areas to stitch, which are nice and easy. A little bit more detail here in the owls, but not too bad. Nothing really confetti heavy. And this is 30 different colors. So I think that one looks pretty cool. Easy to read, but again, not a whole lot of border on that one. So that seems to be the going trend, but I've never seen, it does come with instructions that look pretty standard, but I've never seen this brand before, but it seems kind of like Mona Lisa-ish. And then I'm curious about the background on this one because this looks like a photo here. So I'm not sure how well this one rendered. If any of them are going to look computer rendered, I would guess that this would be the one. So we'll take a quick peek and see how this one came out. So lots of Christmassy colors. Oh, look at those bright greens and reds on that one. And this one is 23 colors. And it's a small one. Okay, that wouldn't take too long. And it looks like they took the photo, well, here. That definitely doesn't look like a photo. And they did hand render it because I don't see a lot of digital confetti or weird stitches there. So the background does kind of fade from one color to the next, but it actually looks pretty good. I think this would make a cute pillow, maybe for Christmas time. I like it. So to me, overall, there were a couple I wouldn't do, but I can find them useful in other ways. But several that I would do, or that I could send to friends who cross stitch. So that was, again, a set of 8 random. Don't know if you get the same ones, but that one came to me from Amazon delivery in just a few days, so it was local delivery. So I might try again just to see if they come out different, because if they are the same, then I will send them to my sister. So let's see what's in here. Some of this is storage, some of this is thread, and some of it I don't remember. So let's go. So it's 13 items in here, but some of them, like I said, are threads. Like I bought 3 or 4 of the same color. But they did kind of gather and then ship all at once, and it got here in about 2 weeks. So a lot more like the good old days of Temu. So we do have a big old diamond painting here. And then we have our threads that I bought. I'll put those off to the side. I don't think those will be as interesting. We have a box of diamond painting. We have another box and another box. I think those are all diamond paintings. Oh wait, no, some of these are storage, because I did buy a couple storage. A couple of those there are storage. And then we have more cross stitch and more thread. So I saw these threads because I was curious, and I'm not that impressed now that I see them. They sounded much better, they looked much better in the picture than what you get, so this is kind of a buyer beware thing. I'm not sure if I had seen them like this that I would have bought them, because they look like skeins on the site. And I have a long dog sampler that I wanted to stitch. This actually, it says embroidery thread. It is not cross stitch thread there, you can see. So the picture was very, very deceptive because it made it look like it was silk floss, and it is not at all. So I'm not sure what to do with this. I would not use that for cross stitching at all. So it did not match the picture that they showed. So buyer beware on this. I'm trying to look and see if it has much information other than the email, made in China, 150 meters, but it's not in 6 strand, and it is definitely not silk. It looks like just material here, it actually says is polyester. So I tried to read the description pretty well, and I thought about it and deleted it and thought about it and deleted it, but it showed skeins of 6-strand floss, and that's not what this is. So I'm not sure what I want to do with this, but luckily I didn't pay much for it. So I got 3 of this rainbow color, and then 3 of this other rainbow color here. This looks more like something that you would do with friendship bracelets or something like that, because you could stitch it with 1 strand, I guess, and you could cross stitch with it. It's kind of thick though. For Ida cloth, I'd go maybe 14 count. It might work. I don't know. I'll have to think about this. So that was 6 of the items. Not a big deal there. I didn't lose much money there. I'm sure with all the crafting that I do, I will come up with something. So these also won't be too exciting here. Let me try to open this. I probably should have grabbed my scissors. There we go. We don't need this box anyway. Although they are good for storing like trading card games or other things. But I found these storage boxes and I am in need of more storage here. So these had different sizes, which is why I thought it was cool. And they were very, very affordable there. So we have the stickers, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 16 of the larger ones. And then the Tic Tac containers here, 10, 12, oops, I lost count there. It looks like about 40. Each row maybe has about 20 there. So there's 40, maybe 55, 56 total in there. Let's see if it says on the box, because you don't want to watch me count all those. But that's what these 2 are. So I got 2 of those because they were, I thought, a really good deal for storage boxes, and I like the different sizes. So that would, each of those would kit up a pretty decent sized project, I suspect, because of the larger containers in there. Let's see what this is. This may be a different storage. Ah, no, I remember what this is. This was a silly thing that I thought was really cool. It is more junk journal related, but this is a replica of the diary from the movie The Holy Grail. So Indiana Jones diary here. And I thought it looked kind of fun and very junk journal-y. I can use the materials even if it's not that exciting. I knew I could find some use for the goodies. So here we go. We have this little leather journal and lots of different ephemera here. So we have this little elastic, and we have the, oh, there's even more pieces in here. So yeah, this looks actually pretty fun. So we got some fake money in here, and it's all double-sided. That's always cool. And some photos. There's Harrison Ford. So lots of goodies here in the front. And then throughout we've got the pictures and everything. Really, really cute. That might be fun to just read in bed, or to actually take apart because of the price being so affordable. Take apart and use it as a junk journal, or keep it as it is and cover some of the pages with other things. So we got all this ephemera here that was in the front, and then all this as well that we could stick throughout. So we got a telegraph here. We have a fake newspaper article here. And they had a few different options for this. I picked the Holy Grail one, but they had a couple others in there. And looking at this, I may go back and get some more, because this is really cool. We've got some music paper here. And White Star Line, Liverpool to New York. Kind of cool. There's the Artifact request here. Makes me want to go back and watch the movie and see if I can see these throughout the movie. There's another Harrison Ford photo. We got a certificate here of some sort. Whole bunch of stuff here. I won't open them all for you because you probably want to see the diamond painting. But all sorts of little goodies, lots and lots of them. So this looks really, really fun. There's a lot of little pieces that you could maybe cut up. It's double-sided here. That's kind of cool. Wow. I might buy these for my journaling friend and send her one. Send one to Dove. Dove, if you're watching, I'll see if I can get you one of these if they're still available, because that's just really cute. All these goodies, and I don't think this was very much. I'll try to put it in the link below because I probably want to go get the others. And it even came wrapped. Oop, I don't want to mess that up. I'll fix it up later off camera so you don't have to waste the time. But it came in this paper, which can also be saved. So that's really cool. I'm glad we have a good thing to offset our thread that turned out to be not so good. So let's take a look at some diamond paintings here. This is a set of minis, and we have different locations here. So it says 55 by 62. So we have lots of diamonds. The canvases look like they come rolled, maybe slightly wrinkly here. Ah, okay. So they are quite large. Actually, they don't have much of a border though, but depending on what uses you have for them, you can get around that. You can glue them to canvas or other things like that. Let's see, yes, they are all the same size. We have a nice toolkit actually with the tweezers, the multi-placers, the pen, and the tray there. And then we have our symbol key here. Now it doesn't come with stickers, but it does come kitted up. So here's our symbols. So we have 34 colors on this. Nice, big, easy to see there. So the symbols are 1 through 8, and then uppercase alphabet, and then a few other symbols here. And it looks like they have an 8 but no B, which is good. We have a Q but no O. So they were very careful with the symbols to make sure that the similar ones were left out. So that's pretty good. And then our diamonds here are rounds. So a lot of the minis are squares, but not everybody likes to deal with squares. This is a set of rounds, and you do have the DMC number on there. And let me go ahead and open these. There are a lot in here. Let's see if I can find the opening. There it is. Let's see what we got here with the bags. So we do have the DMC number and how many are in there, and these are quite full. So if you wanted to, you could cut out the paper here for each color, like 3841 here is a question mark symbol. I could cut these out as labels and like just use clear tape and stick them on there. This isn't a sticker sheet, it's just paper, but you can cut it out and use tape if you wanted to, but they are all kitted up. I don't think there are any AB drills or anything like that. They are standard acrylic drills, but I don't see any issues with them. A few little dimples in there. They're pretty basic diamonds. They're not the higher quality ones. They're just pretty basic diamonds. They're a little bit cheaper ones, but the price was right. So there's a big bag of $5.97. Lots and lots of them. So lots of bright colors. Here, these are the type of drills I probably wouldn't save after I'm done, but we'll see. I can tell, if you're wondering what I'm looking at to decide that, it's the front, the facets, or lack of them. They're gonna shine a little bit there, but not very much. They don't have all the fancy cuts on them to make them a little bit more sparkly. So these are all the colors. Lots of blues in these, but you would expect that because there's lots of sky on all of these, and then lots of green. So pretty bright colors on these. And a bag that they all fit back in nice and easy. And I think I'll put that in there with them in case they get separated. Turn it that way. And roll it up. So let's take a look at the canvases here. They do need to unroll a little bit. I probably will flatten these under a book or something. They're not like really folded, but they do need a little time to unroll here. So here's what they look like. I'm curious to see how this is going to work. It looks like it's gridded for squares, but the diamonds are round. But they do show the color there around the square, so you won't have weird colors showing up underneath there. So I think it'll be okay, but typically these grid type ones are squares, not rounds. But they are quite large, making sure, because there's not a whole lot of border around them, I'm making sure that they were all cut straight. So this one has a little bit less on this side and a little bit more on this side. So really tight edge there. And same with up here, right up against the edge. So not the best cutting job on them, but I think if you mount them on something, I see myself as mounting these on watercolor paper before doing them to give a little bit more border. I might like paint the watercolor paper first and then mount them and then do the diamond painting. This is more of a crafty thing rather than just diamond painting. I see myself doing something crafty with these here. That one's really pretty. And then the house. So they seem pretty clear. I don't see digital confetti or anything like that. They look more hand rendered, but they are just cut really close. So you'd have to come up with a crafty project or something to do with those. That's why I think I'm going to mount them on paper first and then do the diamond painting. And as far as the stick goes, let's see here. I can separate that. It's being difficult. There we go. Looks like pretty shiny glue there. Oh yeah, very, very sticky. I was afraid maybe it was going to be like double-sided adhesive, but it is not. It is poured glue, and you can tell when you try to scrape it up. If it's double-sided adhesive, it'll try to come up as tape, but if it's poured glue, it'll kind of be a little bit stringy. So that looks like poured glue. So that was not bad. I don't think I paid much for it, but here again is what the images look like. Although they're kind of faded here, you could probably see the colors are much brighter, especially for the rainbow waterfall here. We got the bench and the tree and the house. There's a little waterfall. Nice little relaxing imagery there. So that's that one. And then let's look at this large diamond painting. So you can find large ones. Somebody asked me, how do you find the big diamond paintings on Temu? And I thought about doing a video, although I may add it to my Q&A video that's coming up, but I thought I'd do one on how to pick out diamond paintings, because it's easy to fall into the trap of picking a picture that looks really cool, and then you get the diamond painting and find out it's too small, not rendered well, all that good stuff. So I'm gonna talk about what I do or what I look for diamond paintings from Temu. So this is a bigger one, but the problem I see with this one is not very many colors. But we'll take a look and see what we got here. So if you want to look for the big ones, oops, it's kind of stuck in there. Let's try again. I may have to tear the plastic because it feels like some of the plastic is holding it down. So we'll have to do this way. Feels like the plastic's stuck to it somewhere. Okay, there we go. So, no, I don't feel anything sticky. Maybe right there it's a little bit sticky, so that's what was sticking the plastic to it. But what I do is search for Diamond Painting XXL is one of the ways to do that. But here's why I had to get this one. It is full of glare. Can I turn it that way? You can't see that. Oh, I'm shining it in my face for a minute. But we have a much more realistic looking thunderstorm here. Oh, wow. And we got 3 tool kits with it and some kitted up diamonds. But this one is obviously very dark. But we have a supercell thunderstorm here with a huge mesocyclone. We got a house over here and another house there. Looks like some water through here, lots of trees. So we have a thunderstorm scene, and that's what drew me to this one. But because it's so dark there, it only has 18 colors. And I'm going to go ahead and peel this, because even though the ring light is shining in my face right now, I think there's still a little bit of a glare for you from the plastic, and there's not a whole lot of contrast in the image. So hopefully that made it a little bit clearer. But it did come a little bit wrinkled, so this is another one that we'll have to flatten out a little bit. But that's part of the expectation with getting these from overseas, is that you do end up with a little bit of wrinkling that you have to straighten out. So this is the shower curtain style plastic, as I like to call it, so it is a little bit easier to flatten. Oh, take a quick look at the back here. So even though it does look a bit wrinkly, some of this wrinkle is staying because of how I stuck this back on. I'll fix it later. But yay, now I can see again because the light's not in my eyes. But you can't see the image there, so I'm not sure how much of that detail will come out in this storm image, but I thought it was kind of cool. So let's turn this over so we can look at the diamonds a little bit clearer. So we do have a lot of diamonds because it is a large one, but only 18 colors. So most of these look like 310 black, and they are round, which 310 black for round isn't as bad as square. So squares are a little bit tougher to fit together because of the tabs and the trash that comes with black drills. Doesn't matter the company, they all work that way. But round drills, you don't have to fit tight up against each other. So if I do an image with lots of dark colors or black, I do prefer that they are rounds. So we got some pinkish sky colors, some blues, some grays, and a lot of black on that one. So I'm trying to see what else. It does feel like the stickiness does kind of come out to the edge a little bit here. But it is very, very sticky. And the size of this is a 50 by 70. So if you do a Temu search for diamond painting space or diamond painting XXL, you'll see some of the big ones. And you can also do a search for diamond painting and sort them by price from high to low, because the bigger ones will be a little bit higher price. So that's how I find the bigger ones. But you need to consider size, round or square, and then look at the image itself for the size. If it looks like a really complicated image and the size is only 30 by 30, it's not going to work out. So the bigger the diamond painting, the better the image will be. But this one is definitely pretty dark, but it's a storm cloud, so it should be pretty dark. So I'm not real sure how that one's going to come out. So that's a maybe. So we'll call this purchase a maybe. The random cross stitches was a yes. The string was a no. This was a yes. The storage was a yes. This is a yes, but that's because I can figure out different things to do with it. And now we have a couple cross stitches and this package as well. So we're not quite done yet. These are minis, and I've seen somebody else buy these and they didn't have much of a border. So I didn't for the longest time, but when I saw it on the really cheap flash sale, I thought, I can deal with the border just to test them out. But that's again because I do journaling and other crafty things, I can figure out what to do with them. So we do have a toolkit here that comes with the container of needles. We even got a seam ripper here. We got a thimble and a needle threader. So pretty good toolkit here. And we got this. So I think they print them as one big thing and then cut them apart before they send them. It would actually be cool if they didn't cut them apart and sent them as just one big piece and let you do the cutting. But this is an 11 count, 51 by 38 I think is the full size. But here's what we have. We have some different floral cross stitches. These look just like the mini diamond paintings, which are probably the same exact charts. It's just one has plastic diamonds, the other has thread. So we have 34 colors actually on these. And even if you didn't like the fabric that came with them, you could use these as counter cross stitch and do them on whatever fabric you wanted. But here, these actually don't look as bad as some of the photos I've seen on Facebook groups. So these do have at least a little bit of a white border around them. Some of the others I saw have absolutely no border. You stitch right up to the edge. So because these have that white background, they do have a few stitches. There are a few rows of border on all of them. So that one's kind of close there. We've got a row of 3 there. So it looks like most of them have at least 3 rows of non-stitching around them. So that's good. I can work with that. And that's, again, because I see myself doing something paper related, actually, with these rather than framing them. So I might come up with some sort of crafty thing. You can even sew them together and turn it into a quilt. So I think there's 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So you could buy like 2 sets of these or maybe some different ones that are squares. I'd probably buy 2 sets of the same and have 24 different squares and turn it into a mini quilt and sew it with maybe some fabric strips between them, sew them on the sewing machine and come up with a mini quilt out of them. That's what I might do with those. The floss is, as you would expect, here we've got the floss drops with all the different colors here. I'm sure you're familiar with these, but lots of different bright floral colors in there. So that's pretty good. I can work with that. I'd say that's a thumbs up. And then we have this one, which is another set of minis. Maybe I can put these 2 together. Let's see, there it is. Okay, so we got very, very bright colors against the black on this one, and that's because we have butterflies. So we have the same toolkit here and the same chart, the same little thing here, And ooh, that's gonna be really tight. So we only have 2 rows there, and I think these are slightly different size here, which is why for a quilt you would want to do 2 of the same set, because I don't think you could get different sets and have them match up the exact same size the way you would need to. But I could do a separate something with these. So we got 12 different butterflies here. And it looks like these are running up about 2 rows from the border if they've all been cut evenly. So that one's just over 2, that one's 2. Yeah, they look to be about 2 rows from the border, which is a bit tight. But I knew that going into this. We're only about, yeah, right at 2 rows there. So I kind of wish that they would come not cut and let you do the cutting if you wanted to, because I probably wouldn't have cut them apart. I would have done it kind of as a quilt. That one's only got 1 row right there, so a little bit tougher to work with that. You definitely don't want them to come undone, and even though it's stiff and starched right now, you could stitch them this way. You just want to be a little bit careful, but once you wash this and the starch goes away, it is going to try to fray. So there is something called fray check or fabric glue that you can put on the edge. Here I would do it on the back side, and that'll keep it from fraying usually when you got something that close. But you can't really sew anything to that again because it's so close. But I knew that when I bought them, I knew they'd be kind of close, but you could glue it to a paper or cardboard or something like watercolor paper, and then put like a little frame around it and do other things with it. So here's the picture of what they're going to look like. Really, really pretty colors. I love the yellow and orange there against the black and the greens. There's a rainbow and pink. So I do like the colors, and hey, you got the chart now, so you could do all sorts of things with this chart as well. And if you wanted to use just the floss and the chart and your own fabric where you didn't have to worry about the edge, you could do these as counted cross stitch on your own fabric. It looks like they're nicely rendered, but there is a lot of black on these. So these are, looks like 11 count there, but you might want to try 4 threads for 11 count because of all the black. That'll give you the better coverage. So lots of floss there. So those are a couple mini sets, and I think they sell the same as diamond paintings. Got a big old mess to clean up. Now this one came at the same time, but it came from a separate store and it came individually. I don't think I paid separate shipping for it though. But this one is a little bit bigger. And it is one of this brand that I have seen before. I bought a few of these before. But look at the image here. It is a 14 count. You want to go the higher count number, because they're all 40 by 50 from this company. So if you get the 11 count, you have fewer squares, so you have a little less detail. So you want to go the smallest count you have, which is 14. And they do show the actual canvas for this brand. If you go into Temu and look at these, you scroll through the images and you will see they show the actual rendering for the 11 count and the 14 count. So you can see it before you get it. So you get some idea of what it's going to look like, or how much detail that you will get. So these are, I think, a little bit better than some of the others. These are the ones though that come kitted up like this with the little floss bobbins. They're wound around the bobbins, so you kind of unwind as much as you want to use and cut it to the length that you prefer working on. And we don't have much here for a toolkit. It's stapled. I'm going to go, I'll leave it for now. But we do have needles here in a bottle. And here, whew, it looks kind of blurry and kind of messy. Let's see, I think it goes wings up top. I think it goes like that. There we go. So I can see the wings here and the neck and the rock that he's sitting on here. So there again is the picture. So yeah, there's his head. And around, there's his body. And here's the area he's standing on. Now there's not a whole lot of detail here. You see how the rock has that neat symbol on it. This is how it looks. So it is computer rendered, it's not hand rendered. That's why you see all the speckles around. You can ignore some of those as you're stitching it. If you don't want that one stitch of that color, like there and there, you can just go ahead and cover over with whatever color is next to it. There is no rule that says you have to follow those little confetti stitches exactly. If they don't add to the design, then just ignore them and stitch it with the color that's around it. But I'm not sure how well this will turn out. 25 colors. It is a 40 by 50. I think I already said that. A few areas here of blocking stitching, but a lot of different confetti. This might be a good one to practice some of the different techniques for full coverage cross stitch. That's maybe what I'd do with this one. I'll probably start with the dragon head and see how that comes out before I decide to go any further. That's a lot of times what I do with these budget friendlies is I will start in what I think might be the most important part. So I will stitch his head first and see what I think and then decide to go on or not. But if I decide not to, I still have all the floss and I can wash this and have a big piece of 14 count canvas. So again, I feel like there's a little less of a risk when you buy budget friendly cross stitch because you have so many other uses for the supplies. So if you don't like what you get, you can always wash it and do something else with it. So that's a maybe, but I just really love the dragon picture. I wanted to give it a try. I wasn't completely sure it would work out, and I'm still not, so that one is a maybe. So that was a maybe. The other maybe was that, although I'm pretty sure I can do something with it. The butterflies, I know I can do something with it. The flowers, I think, were a little bit better, a little bit more border. And then loved this one, but yeah, this was a no. I'll figure something out, but that probably goes more into my junk journaling pile rather than my stitching pile or my crafting pile. And then the storage, I think they look pretty good. Let's see how they open here, if I can figure that out. So they seal, there we go. They do seal a little bit better than the older Tic Tac containers. So they do have a little snap there. And I think those will work out just fine. And then the storm diamond painting, that's a maybe. We'll have to work on it a little bit. And then all the random 8-pack here of cross stitches, I think that was a good choice there on that. So that's what I got for you on this Temu haul. Now that I know that the Temu hauls are working like they used to a little bit, I'll probably go back and figure out a relatively budget-friendly diamond painting haul of just diamond paintings. This one seemed to be a bit cross-stitch heavy, but that's because it's a little bit less of a risk to me because I can still use the supplies. But anyway, I will go back and come up with a diamond painting haul because y'all have been so supportive of my channel. So I appreciate you sitting through the ads because that's how I get revenue, which helps me make these purchases. So my channel is doing very well. So I thank you for that. I've gotten some super chats, which that helps as well, so I can fold the money that I get from the channel and the advertising back into the channel and purchase things that you guys want to see. So that's what I got for you on this haul. So we will see what else we can find. Hopefully you found something interesting to see here, and I appreciate again all your support, and I'll catch you next time.